Morning, Wally. What can I get you? I'm on a budget. Toast and a cup of coffee. Is that it? I'm getting some hours at the Betamax, but it's not enough. I applied at Andy's pet shop, but he got rid of all the animals. Humanely, I hope. All he had left was a bunch of crickets, and he paid me to release them out in the field. But after that, he doesn't really need any help. I've been bouncing from one menial job to another. I need to find something that fulfills me. It isn't just about money. It is partly about money, though, isn't it? My financial situation is parlous. I know it's just one more menial job in a long line of menial jobs, but one of the night cooks stole 3 pounds of bacon and ran off. He risked going to prison for bacon? There's a reason they lock everything up around here. Food costs, food costs, food costs. I don't think another shitty job's the answer. No offense. None taken. Do you have something you're good at? Something you're passionate about? I did major in journalism at Dartmouth. I thought you were an archaeology major. I may have switched my major once or twice, but you're right, I should start a newspaper. A newspaper? Yes. Do you realize Reason doesn't have a newspaper? I've never thought about it, but now that you mention it, the only metal boxes are for USA Today, and they're all empty, except for that one where the opossums are nesting. Yes, why didn't I think of this before? Reason's crying out for a newspaper. Are you sure? Because I haven't heard any of that. If there was a town newspaper, would you read it? Probably not. I'm sorry, sweetie, I'm just being honest. You're not thinking of quitting the Betamax, are you? No, even holding down a job I'll have plenty of time to pursue this. All right then, I suppose there's no harm in it. You seem unusually cheerful. Something's occurred to me recently. I found my purpose. Your purpose? I've been drifting from one low-paying, unfulfilling job to another. I don't mean the Betamax, of course. Of course not. Do you realize Reason doesn't have a daily newspaper? Yes, I was aware of that. I think this town needs its own newspaper. I'm not so sure. Not a whole lot happens here, and folks in Reasons aren't especially fond of reading. If you have any doubt of that, you should go talk to Marion. Not a whole lot happens here. I know that, but some things do happen. Not long ago there was an election for sheriff, an election Simon McCardle nearly won. Yes, I do recall something about that. In fact, you were working for his campaign, and I regret doing so. I was shocked when he nearly won, because of the Jack Bauer write-ins, but luckily he didn't. I was there at the debate, and I wanted to ask a question, but Emily wouldn't call on me. I did vote for you. I appreciate that. Your vote may have made the difference. Of course, the Jack Bauer write-ins were meant as a joke. Rebecca was behind it, but she didn't know Simon had a real chance of winning. Yes, and I just can't figure out how. A lot of dinosaurs in town get all their current events from him spouting off at the pheasant plucker. Not a good scenario. And your recent noble efforts to bring the community together to help Emily. You heard about that too? Yes, I have some background in construction. I worked at a job site for 6 weeks before I got fired, and that was because I kept getting so drunk I was too hungover to come in, not because I was inept. I showed up to pitch in, but she told me some bizarre TV show was doing all the work for free. I had no idea. I was going to ask you. Thanks. I understand why you might think of me as irresponsible. Most around town do. I don't think Simon even knows my real name. He just refers to me as the Vagrant. I may have underestimated you myself. You did give me a job, and I really appreciate that. But writing all those stories, will you have the time? If I devote the time I ordinarily waste playing Grand Theft Auto, I can easily turn out a small regional newspaper. Morning, Rebecca. Coffee? No, thanks. I came by to bring you a complimentary copy of the Reason Globe. What's this now? Wally's putting out his own newspaper. We don't need some transient telling us her own business. Wally's not a transient. It's okay, Rebecca. You said complimentary, so usually you expect us to pay for this rag? Yes, 50 cents a paper. I've been putting them in the abandoned USA Today boxes, except of course for the 8th Street opossum habitat. You realize that all the locks on those are broken. I do, and I'm operating on the honor system. Take one paper and leave 2 quarters on top of the box. They belong to some media conglomerate, but they've been sitting rusty and empty for years. Honor system, you're so naive. North Korean missile test escalates tensions. What test? What tensions? Go ahead, read about it. Don't pay any attention. The military-industrial complex wants you scared, so you go along with ever-growing defense budgets. Is that right? It may be, but different versions of events should be available. There should be sources of information besides newspapers owned by Rupert Murdoch. I thought I'd come by and walk you home. I'm just finishing up. It won't be long. Take your time. Wally's watching the store. Speaking of Wally, is that a stack of Reason globes? It is. He came by and asked if he could set some by the door. He was so sweet I had to say yes. And they've been selling. Dinosaurs come in, take one off the stack, and drop payment into the coffee can. Some have even drifted in and wandered the stacks. If this keeps up, somebody might check out a book. I walked by one of those old USA Today boxes, and the top was covered with quarters, and in the middle was a 20 held in place by a pyramid of change. I saw that 20 fluttering there in the breeze, and I felt something. I believed we lived in a good town, but lately I'd begun to lose faith. It is awfully nice. I just hope he sticks with this. In the past he's been a little flighty. To get sick of working the fry vat at Burger King isn't flighty. It's a symptom of sanity. I think he'll keep it up. A beer for me and one for Wally, too. You don't need to buy him drinks. He's a big newspaper tycoon. No need to be a dick, Simon. He's been bragging about how he's going to take down Rupert Murdoch. I haven't been saying anything of the kind. I'm not going to pretend to compete with him except maybe in my own puny way. I have nothing against him. It's just he shouldn't have a monopoly on the news. No one man should be the final arbiter of the truth. You're right. There are many different opinions of Rupert Murdoch, but one fact is indisputable. He has lots and lots of money and you don't. You have to plunge those long arms of yours into the couch cushions to find change for toast and coffee. I notice that you're covering international news. I am. I'm using a wire service. The Associated Press was too expensive, so I settled for Reuters. But many of the stories are local and all my own. Look here. Andy has a shipment of pet rocks in at the pet store. He won't stop pushing those pet rocks. He can't accept that it's impossible to resurrect a stupid fad. I know. I interviewed him. He extolled them at great length and with considerable enthusiasm, and I didn't print a word of it. On behalf of the town, thank you. But I can't help but worry. You're not borrowing or running up credit cards or doing anything foolish, are you? I swear to you I'm being responsible, so don't worry.